Watched a fascinating documentary about the racing car driver Senna. It was apparent that from childhood, inspiration was in his DNA. There were other superb, award-winning racing car drivers in his era, but none touched hearts and souls quite like Senna. The outpouring of grief when he died was second to none, especially in his native Brazil, where he was and still is an icon. But what was it about him that set him apart? He was divinely inspired for sure, but why him and not anyone else? I think the reason was that he lived his life courageously and without any doubt that heaven was guiding and inspiring him. Every day of his life he faced the possibility of death, but because he believed in the other side without question, there was no fear, just calm acceptance and vitality in the now. He lived the power and magic of the present moment. I'm not saying we should all become high-speed risk-takers because Senna died way too young, but perhaps we could look for the hand of spirit working in our lives and learn to live in the present moment with inspiration in our hearts as he did. We could all commit ourselves 100% to something we believe in. We could treat every moment of our lives as a sacred gift from above. We could live our lives believing in the possibilities of miracles rather than casually hoping for them. We can all be inspirations to ourselves and to others. The miracle of birth. If you think about it, our lives begin with an inspirational miracle, the miracle of birth. For those of us who are religious or spiritual, a new spirit is born onto this earth from its home in heaven. For those of us who are not religious, birth is just as much a miracle in that a tiny, tiny fertilized cell can divide and divide and divide and become a baby with a heart, eyes, mind and soul. Conception science reveals that each baby born is a unique result of an astonishing merging of cells from the mother and father. From millions of sperm cells, just one resilient soul converges with the egg. So this is how each one of us begins our life on earth, and wonderful lessons can be learned from this sensational process. The most obvious being that your very existence on earth is nothing short of awesome, a miracle. You are utterly unique. No one else's DNA will ever match yours, and you will also never again face such seemingly insurmountable obstacles for the right to breathe. The toughest part, if you think about it, is actually behind you. Please understand you have already beaten the odds just by being born. Seeing this light, virtually anything is possible if you are as persistent and courageous as you were from the very beginning of your life, when your chances of surviving were just 1 in 5 million or more. In your day-to-day life, you will usually have way better odds than that. So, when we consider that our very existence on this planet is a miracle, we have no excuse but to live each day courageously. We have no excuse not to be inspired by our own breath and by the beauty of the world we live in. The story of your own miraculous conception is a wonderful source of inspiration, and hopefully it will remind you of something you instinctively knew as a child but may have forgotten along the line. How awe-inspiring this world is, and how precious every moment of life is. Each time our perspective shifts from one of stress and haste to one of gratitude and clarity, the more guided, inspired, loved and blessed you will feel. Many near-death experience accounts describe feelings of blissful, intoxicating wonder and awe and inspiration on the other side. The people that can come back to life, as John did in his story that I'm going to read in a second, carry this heavenly feeling back with them. It transforms their lives and the lives of all those who encounter them. Here's John's story. It's called Colour Vision. Teresa. Before my near-death experience, I was one of those people who wasn't unhappy as such, but wasn't truly happy either. I was quite functional, I guess, and saw the world around me in black and white. I used to dread art or creative writing lessons at school The teacher would name a topic and everyone else would pick up their pens, but I never could really think of anything to say or do, so I settled into a career in finance right after college because it was ordered and factual and I knew where I was, and my life became routine. Even when I got married and had 4 beautiful children, routine was still important to me. All that changed when I turned 50. I'd had no history of heart problems, but I was driving to work one day and suddenly had these crippling pains in my chest and legs. I blanked out. Next thing I remember is waking up in hospital with absolutely no idea how I got there. Apparently I had swerved and hit a lamppost. Mercifully, nobody apart from me got hurt, but my injuries were so bad I was in a coma-like state for days. My wife and children were told to prepare for the worst. In the weeks ahead, as I slowly got better, my memory started to return. And during that time, images started to flash into my mind. They were images of unimaginable beauty, colour, richness and expansiveness. I'm using lots of words here because finding the right one doesn't do justice to what I saw. I remember a bright light and I felt I was merging with it until I became that light. Then I found myself in a place or state where I felt such joy. I was euphoric. Everything was turned upside down in that place, but everything made perfect sense too. For instance, the grass laughed and the flowers sang, and all was intensely alive. I'm aware this sounds very peculiar and a bit druggy perhaps, and this is why I haven't told anyone but you, but I want to tell you because I know what you will say. You will tell me I saw heaven or spirit. I don't know if I went to heaven or not, but what I do know that I was touched by something magical. Ask my family, and they'll tell you I've completely changed. I have started drawing pictures of angels now, Teresa, and just had my first novel called Heart Beating, accepted by a publisher. Not a major one, but you've got to start somewhere. The novel is all about something very mysterious, the workings of the human heart. I talk about my near-death experience and how it has changed me. I talk about love, not of other people, but as a living force. I also talk about my emotional journey and how it took almost dying to discover I had a heart and the creativity hidden inside me. It feels like before I died, I lived my life in black and white, but now I feel so alive in glorious technicolor, pointing upwards. From all the stories like John, that I've just read, and from all the stories I have received over the years about near-death experiences or afterlife encounters, one theme comes through loud and clear. Heaven inspires us to see astonishing miracles all around us, every precious moment of our lives. Inspiration, like love, healing and beauty, is just another word to describe spiritual life. William Blake, the English poet who saw and heard angels all his life, famously saw the world in a grain of sand. So why not see spirit in a grain of sand, a raindrop, a sunset, a white feather, a passing cloud, the warmth of a hug, the magic of coincidences and answered prayers, or anything that comforts, heals and inspires you? Why not glimpse heaven in the soft breeze, in a bird's song, in the voices of people you love, in your heart and in your dreams? Why not let heaven inspire you and work a miracle inside you and help you see the universe as it truly is, a place of exceptional wonder? Why not let heaven or spirit inspire you to see yourself as you truly are, a miracle? In short, anything on this earth that inspires feelings of wonder and awe, love and compassion, a sense of connection to the world of spirit is pointing us upwards in the direction of heaven and reminding us that there is more to this life than meets the eye. I'm going to read you a few mini stories sent to me by my readers now, and they all show inspiration can be found in the simplest of things, and magic can be found in the most ordinary of places. I'm going to start with this story from Janice. Teresa, sometimes when I feel a gentle breeze on my face, I get the strong sense that my departed husband is standing close to me and kissing my cheek. Call it imagination, but I know he's there beside me. I can't explain it. I just get this warm glow and shivers down my spine. It doesn't happen every time the breeze blows, just sometimes, but when it does happen, I feel like he is giving me a hug from the other side. I sometimes feel him close to me when there is a beautiful sunset too. We would often walk together and gaze in awe at the beauty of the setting sun. Now, whenever I look at a sunset, I believe he is still walking beside me. Here, this story from Rachel. It's a very short story, but utterly perfect what she's saying. Teresa, heaven on earth? Oh, that's simple for me. It's just when my children laugh. That's when I feel I'm alive in heaven. And here's a story from Paul. Teresa, after my dear dog died, I missed him so much. He really was my best friend. There is little support or understanding when a beloved pet dies, so I just carried on, but every now and again, and particularly after a long day at work, when he isn't there to greet me with his unconditional love, I get very tearful. Anyway, a couple of weeks ago I came home and the tears were there again, but this time I noticed one of his old chew toys, a panda, lying in the living room. I really have no idea how it got there, as he had died 4 months previously and I had given all his food bowls and toys away to a friend who also owned a dog. I picked it up and it smelled so strongly of him, it was like he was still there. The smell gave me such comfort. I don't know why or how, but since then I've felt better, and I'm even thinking of getting a new puppy now. I know Panda, yeah, that was my dog's name, would want me to do that. And finally, here's a lovely story from Joanna. Teresa, when you've had a hard day and are feeling stressed, it's remarkable how the smile of a stranger can just lift you. Happened to me the other day. I was in the supermarket and had loaded my shopping basket with a few too many items. I should have got a trolley, but I didn't have a spare pound, so I struggled with items falling out of my basket. Out of nowhere, this lovely girl came up to me with the most beautiful smile and asked me if I would like her trolley. I said I didn't have a spare pound, but I did have 2 50p's. She happily accepted them and gave me the trolley, again flashing that beautiful smile. I don't know, it just lifted my spirits. She reminded me a lot of my sister, who had died 10 years ago. My sister was always smiling and lifting people's spirit in simple ways. Just that simple action felt like she was there for a moment. These stories show how nature, music, children, animals, and even something as simple as a smile from a stranger can bring a touch of spirit into our daily lives. But as each one of us is a unique miracle, each one of us will find inspiration and the feeling that heaven is never far away and that miracles are possible in our own unique way. Remember too that if you look at yourself and the world around you as a source of magic, joy and inspiration, you are far more likely to find it, along with intense and deeply comforting feelings of closeness to those you love who are waiting for you on the other side.